Okay, so welcome to the Blackline Live Safety Training Session. So first of all, I'm going to be talking to you about what Blackline Live is all about. So it's a cloud-hosted web portal. It gives you visibility on your workers, and it allows you to keep your contact information up to date. And it's also where you'll find the main dashboard associated with devices, live map, account settings and configurations, and things like that. It is your responsibility to make sure the following pieces are up to date. So please note that this is not a day-to-day task that you need to do, but just when and if you need to update something in your account, this training session is going to provide you the tools to be able to do that on your own. However, you can always call into customer care whenever you do need help. So some of the main responsibilities are contacts. So your team members, just keeping those your people up to date. So that's phone numbers, emails, and contact information. So if you have a brand new employee or a supervisor starting, it will be your responsibility to go in and add them into your system. Making sure that all your device users are in your account and assigned and everything. And also making sure your emergency response protocols are kind of all up to date. So in terms of emergency response protocol, we actually deal with the escalation written document part, and we can assist you with that. But really it's just honing in to your emergency contacts that are in the account. So, you know, the people that we're going to call if you can't get a hold of them on the alert there. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly explain the organization, what the account structure organization looks like. So our Blackline Live system is known as an organization. So Blackline Safety, your company, another company, they're all known as organizations. And in your organization, you have team members, devices, etc., etc., etc. So if you would like to share information with another organization, you can actually do this by requesting a relationship with them, and then you could share each other's organization if you needed to do that. If you're already with us at Blackline and you have a new department or a region joining, they don't need to create a separate organization. They can just come under your organization, and we can just set them up as a different department with a group, etc., and still give them their own personal access as well. Okay, what I'm now going to actually do is actually log into the account and start to show you around the system. So in terms of your account, once you log into your account, so we do go to blacklinelive.safety.com and you simply enter in your name and password. And if you don't have that set up, then just contact customer care or designated engagement manager and we can help you with that. So let's go through some of the main key components that we need to do once we're in our account. Number one, I want you to click on your email on the top right-hand corner and immediately go to organization details. In this section, it allows you to create, if you haven't already done so, or edit your organization name and description. Then all you simply need to do is scroll down and then make sure you are setting your time zone in your account as well. That's really, really important. So if I was to click edit and change something, I can then click save after and complete that. So that's all you need to do in that particular section. Then I want you to go to menu, and I want you to then go to team members under features. Team members is where you add in all of your employees, supervisors, and managers into the account. And this is where you also update information. So let's walk through how we add a team member in. So if I click add team member, I clicked contact. Always click contact first, and then you can think about whether you want to upgrade them to account user secondary. The reason why I say always do a contact first is because if you add them as an account user to begin with, which is fine, you have to wait for them to accept their email and to activate their account before assigning them to any protocols or configs or anything like that. So you won't be able to kind of carry on with your work until they have accepted and activated their end. So instead of waiting for them, I typically go in and add everyone as a contact, get my kind of account structure set up, then I can go in and start to upgrade people to account users, because now I've done my work, they can then activate and accept that account access in their own time, and I'm not waiting on them to complete that. So always going in with a contact first. So contact, click next, and then simply add in your first name, last name, email, mobile, work, company. If you do have someone using a work phone number, make sure that when you're entering their surname, you just put something like extension 3, and then you can add in the work number there. If you do have a shared device, you can simply call it your whatever resonates with your team. So I'm part of the onboarding department within Blackline Safety. So I might call my device onboarding 1, and I might call it my last name shared device, just to let people know that this is a shared device. So here's my department, because maybe I've got 10 devices. So I'm going to go in here and create onboarding 1 to 10 and my shared device name. And then if there is a phone number that you have assigned to your device, so a lot of our devices might have two-way voice calling or texting, but if you have a shared cell phone that's going to be kind of following that shared device around, then great. Get that phone number in there, or maybe it's the plant phone, or maybe it's the office phone, etc. So always get that phone number in there, mobile or work, attached to the device. However, if you do not have a phone number assigned to the device, and the next step in your protocol is to simply call the emergency contact number 1, then that is a separate contact altogether. So let's just leave it blank for the phone numbers, and we'll just have it as onboarding 1 shared device. Then I'll just make sure I enter in my company name. I'm doing this very quickly. You don't need to add any address information. You can definitely put a job title in there if it's needed, but literally name and company. Obviously, if I was entering a supervisor or a manager or an individual employee, I would enter in the proper name information, email if needed, and mobile phone number as well. Especially enter in the email if you are having a manager or supervisor that wants to receive an email or a text. Because if that's something you want to set up later, then we definitely need to make sure mobile and email are entered in. Okay, so I've added in my shared name or my end user or supervisor, etc. And then I simply want to click Add Team Member. And there we have it. I have added in my team member. So the first step for you in your account is to go in and add all of your team members into your account. And then we can think about updating them to an account user. I'm going to touch on that a little bit further in once we've got to the other features, because it makes sense as to why you would need to add them as an account user once I get through a couple of more features. So next I want to go to the devices page, because now I've got everyone in my account and everyone's assigned, as in the team member section. I now want to start assigning devices. This is another responsibility of yours to make sure that your devices are assigned. So menu, features, devices. So under the account, I can see a couple of devices that are unassigned, assigned. So I definitely want to make sure everything is assigned. I don't want to have anything left that says select to assign. Definitely before you go live with Blackline Safety. Obviously, if you're self-monitored, then that will be kind of at your own discretion when you do that. But before we go live with Blackline, making sure everything's assigned. If you're using our G7C or G7X, all devices need to be assigned. If you are using our bridge, bridges don't need to be assigned. Bridges just need a name because they are a base station. And you can definitely call upon customer care or go onto our support site and look into further about that if you need help or information on any of that as well. Okay, so once I've gone into my device page and I see that I've got a user that needs to be assigned, so G7X, for example, select to assign, click it, and I'm just going to label it that shared device. So onboarding 1, save. And I've actually assigned my device. So everything's completed on this page. So it's a little bit slow there. There we go. Okay, now what I'm going to now do is go into the alert profile. This is, again, a responsibility that you'll need to do because now we've got our devices assigned and named. I need to make sure they're in the correct alert profile. So if I go to menu, under alert profiles, which is under features, and set up my alert profile. An alert profile is a profile designed to have the escalation protocol written in there, to have your emergency contacts added in, and anyone as a notified contact added in as well. So I'm just going to show you this example, G7C escalation. Before I jump in there and show you that, as you can see, I've got a whole list of profiles in there. It's because you can have as many profiles as you need. The only time you need a different profile is if emergency or notified contacts change. So let's go through myself and my coworker, Nova, for example. If me and Nova fall under the same roof in terms of emergency contacts, so we have the same 3 emergency contacts, me and Nova can be under the same profile. But if Nova has different emergency contacts, even if she has the same but the order changes, she needs to have her own protocol, her own alert profile. So let's go in and have a look. So once I open this profile, you're going to see the profile name at the top, which is really important to identify which it is. So a G7 escalation protocol, we don't have gas detection. And there's the protocol template that we provide to you. You don't need to worry about editing and rewriting this. If you need to change any steps, then you call into your engagement manager or customer care, but someone will be able to help you and we can review this. And if they can't, we'll put you in touch with someone that can. But what you definitely need to do is make sure your emergency contacts are in order. This is weighing more on people that have purchased, or customers that have purchased like yourselves, or other people that have purchased Blackline monitoring. So Blackline monitoring, you need a protocol, you need emergency contacts, and notified contacts are a bonus. So to add in my emergency contacts, I simply click on the add contact, which brings me to my team member section where I've added everyone in. So I'll just click on a couple of names and add them in. Click done, select the phone number, and then select my priority of order that I would like them to be called in. Then I want to add in my notified contacts. Who would like to receive an email and a text? Maybe it's just Victoria. Okay, so I'll just select Victoria, and maybe she just wants a text or both. Then you want to make sure that the alerts that you wish to be monitored by us are on. Now, if you're in training right now, these alerts don't need to be on. But as soon as you're live, we will help you and make sure that these alerts are turned on before going live for sure. So making sure that the high priority alerts are turned on and your high gas. Anything in between is more admin style, and you can talk to your designated engagement manager regarding that if those are some extra things that you would like to review and have a notification or be set up with. Now, let's go back, rewind. We spoke a lot about Blackline monitoring. If you are self-monitored, then we can definitely provide you our templated protocol that you could use for your team, but you don't require it or need it. It's just if it would be really valuable to you, we can send it to you and you can use it. You do not need emergency contacts in your system because we won't be calling anyone. But if your team that are self-monitoring need to see phone numbers that they need to call, then for sure, add them in, help them out. But again, it depends on your setup, not mandatory, but it's extra steps to help with that. If you are self-monitored, it is absolutely 100% mandatory that you have your notified contacts set up, because these are the people that are going to be receiving the alerts through emails and texts. If you have a control room or an operations room that are going to be monitoring your alerts, then we can have them set up as an account user, we can give them access to the account, and again, we can have them receive a backup email and text as well. Again, these are things that you need to talk about with your designated engagement manager, and we will for sure make sure that setup is complete for you on our end and assist you with that. So notified contacts for self-monitoring, definitely want to have them set up. So I'm going to put way more names there in the field. Maybe I don't have any people to call because we know who we're calling. We don't need to see the numbers. We know exactly what to do. And then I'll have everyone listed as a notified contact. Now, this is when it gets interesting with self-monitored customers. So everyone is at a 0-minute delay. This means that everyone is going to receive an email and a text the minute that device goes into a high alarm. Great, that's exactly what we want. However, if Charmaine, Dean, and Kevin said, you know what, Victoria's the manager, so I want her to respond to the alert. I only want to get it, and Dean and Kevin only want to receive it if Victoria can't attend to it. So if she cannot attend to that alert. So then I would suggest maybe putting everyone on a minute delay. So we could say, okay, Charmaine, we'll put you on a 2-minute, we'll put Dean on a 4-minute, and we'll put Kevin, who's like the safety director, at 6. So what that's done now is it's kind of layered in, if Victoria does not respond to that alert within 2 minutes, it's then going to be sent to Charmaine and vice versa. So you can structure it in 2 different ways for self-monitoring. And then once ever you've finished your profile, you simply add in the user. So I'm going to click on my onboarding shared one device, click done, click save, and now I have an alert profile saved and configured for that particular device. If I have 100 devices and I need 20 for my, onboarding department, I need 20 for production, 20 for sales, 20 for SOC, and 20 for the technical guys, then I might be having 5 alert profiles, right? With those 5 different kind of call down lists or notification lists, because the 5 groups have different people or different orders of of how the alerts want to happen there in the response. So as you can see, a device can have its own profile, or you can have everyone under the same roof. Okay, I'm just going to click my back button, and this is something that I'm going to whiz over and not go into too much detail. You do have another tab there called notifications. This is a notification that's separate from managing alerts and separate from monitoring. So if you would like someone to receive an alert and not have to respond to it and just have a private notification, whether it's high alerts or admin style alerts, this is the place to go in and add it to. Also, on your contact group section, please go in and read this. You do not need any training on this. You simply read what is asking for you to be added in and simply add in where you feel necessary to add in some contacts for getting updates and features and things like that, and service outage notifications, very important. So give it a read. It's in the alert profile section on the 3rd tab there. Okay, so just recapping and going back to my devices page, I've covered, kind of starting from the beginning, I covered that we click down on the email to make sure your organization details are set up with your time zone. I then moved over to the menu, went to the team member section, and showed you how to just simply add in contacts to the team member section and share devices. Then we went over to menu and the devices page, and I showed you how to assign the devices. And if you are using what is called one of our bridge products, they do not need assignments, they need names. Then I also moved over to the alert profile where you can set up to have your alerts responded to, notifications set up, etc. Now I'm going to move over to the configuration profile. And this, everyone, I'm definitely going to breeze a little bit over because there are a lot of technical things in the configs that you need to know. So I'm going to just start off with G7. So G7 configuration, the minute you click edit, or you can create one, you would name it, you're going to come down to a section called modes. You have normal operation and pre-entry mode. So normal operation is just normal operation of the device function. So we've got what functional settings would you like on and off, and what sensitivity settings are you going to set up. Now, everyone that's on this session, please note there is an I next to everything to explain each feature. I'm not going to go down individually and explain individual feature, but just know that you can go through this in your own pace, review it, and then have that feedback session with your designated engagement manager, or simply call into customer care saying, look, I've reviewed this page, I've got a good gist of how it works because of all the useful information icons that I can click on and it tells me about it. But customer care, I do have a little question on this particular feature, and we can definitely for sure answer that question. If I scroll down, we've also got gas settings as well. So if you would like to set up your bump or calibration intervals, maybe adjust some of your PPMs, depending on what types of gases you have, or your high or your low thresholds, this is the place to do it. Again, review it at your own pace and then give us a call if you have questions. Now, going back up to the modes, we do have some different configuration modes that are being released here. So we do have a pre-entry mode. And basically, a pre-entry mode is used for entering areas that could contain gas. So it can be used or without a pump cartridge, option to modify gas alarm behavior, and it's also available, it's always on available mode in case the pump cartridge is used as well. So again, read about it, have a kind of, let it function into you, and then you can give us a call if you have further questions. Okay, so if I just click edit here, and I'm going to go in, I can also go to the plus symbol here. This plus symbol has also 3 other modes that you can select: SCBA, leak check, and high risk. Again, this would definitely need a conversation with your engagement manager to see some of the types of works and scenarios and things that you guys are coming into, but I'm just going to give a brief description of these different modes that you can select. So CBA is used for entering areas while wearing a CBA or CABA in a gas zone. There is an option to modify gas alarm behaviour and some functional settings as well, and it does allow for alternative high and low thresholds for LEL. The leak check mode, this is used when checking for gas leaks. So it can be used with or without a pump cartridge, and you do have the option to modify gas alarm behaviour as well. And then lastly, we have our high risk mode. This is used in general high risk situations. It allows for frequent check-ins and modified functional settings, and it cannot be timed out of this mode. It must exit deliberately. So again, go into these features, check them out, go over the information settings and have a look, and then call your designated engagement manager to review what's going to work best for your team. Obviously, this is a lot geared towards gas, but there are others obviously with high risk as well. So just have a look at those and then just give us a call, and we can definitely kind of work together as a team to see what functions and modes we need to set up and customize for your end users. Okay, so just like the alert profile, everyone, you can have one configuration to one device, which is great news for me, the end user, because if I want to start, because all of our devices are configurable, now I can ask and request to you, my manager, hey, can I have my fall detection keeps going off, or can we change my sensitivity setting, or can we increase my check-in or lower it, please? Now I have my own configuration, we can do all of that. So to start off with, you might just want to have all of your team under a standardized configuration. And then as you start to work through your deployment, your training and live and really get to know the devices, you might end up starting to split people off or just groups off from your kind of overall standardized config. Again, call into customer care, your designated engagement manager, and we can help review and set this up with you. Okay, so I'm just going to move over to another page called the groups. This page is really awesome. This page identifies if you want to start building a report system and structure into your account, and it also enables you to separate your departments, your regions, etc., locations within your organization. So for example, let's say I've got my drivers, I've got my field guys, I've got my lab workers and my maintenance group, and I've got individual safety guys that want to be able to log in and only see their group or their supervisor. So I can do that by setting up individual groups. So I'll click on Driver Calgary here just to show you. So you just click create and it asks you for the name, and then you can actually edit your group managers and add them in. Now, when I go into the group managers, I can already see some people in there, which means to me, I have 4 account users, because if you have an account user, you can assign them to different things and give them access, right? Once they've been in the account and activated. So I can actually see right off the bat who I've got in here. If I'm thinking, oh, wow, where's John Smith? Then I need to go and update John Smith to an account user, and then he can be added in to see his groups. And then I can add a device in. So I can have my 20 devices in this group and my 20 devices in the other, and so forth and so forth. The different roles that you guys can access are really cool. Again, we have all of this on our support site and training materials that you'll receive. So basically, we have view only to only give you view on the devices. So there is not any permission to edit anything, which kind of helps having too many cooks in the kitchen. You can also have group admin. So basically you're giving them the whole group admin rights to this particular group. So for this particular device in this group, or however many devices are in this group, you're allowing them to completely have admin rights, so they can change, adjust, delete, edit. They can do all of that. Resolve only would be if you are using our if you are a self-monitored customer and you're wanting some of your team members to be like a responder. So if they're a responder, they might only want to resolve alerts. Do you know what I mean? So that could be a nice setup for them as well. And then you have a device admin who just has rights to change things just according on the device, doesn't have the whole admin structure set up. Okay, so if I go back to menu and go back to that group page, so we've identified the 4 different groups, and you can have multiple people, multiple devices in different groups. And this also starts to build a report structure as well. So if I go to menu, in fact, actually, let me just touch now back on the upgrading the account user, because I kind of said that I wanted to touch back on that. So now I've got my groups set up, and I've got my devices in each of these groups. Now I want to start getting my account users access so they can actually see individual guys in these groups. So now if I go back to menu and team members, because I've got everyone as a contact first and done all my work, like I said, I can start to upgrade people. So what I'm first going to do is click on Jennifer. Let's say she's one of the account managers here, and I now want to upgrade her. So if I go to change to an account user, I can simply click on that, make account user, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to scroll down, and you see it's prompting me saying, well, which group do you want it to have in? So I could say, you know what, Jen needs to see everything in the account, everything. So then there's already a default group called all devices, and I could simply add her in there and choose her access. Or maybe she is just for the field guys. So I would then go there and say, right, she just wants view only to the field guys, or maybe we're giving her group admin access. So I click view only and I click save, and then I've then added Jennifer to give access, to have access for her for the field guys in the account. Once I've clicked save, what is then going to happen is Jennifer is going to receive an email. It's going to say, hey, you've just been invited by the account owner, me, Victoria, or whomever, to accept this email, please. So she'll then click on the email, accept it, and then it will prompt her to create her password. So she then creates her password, and then she has access to the system, and she'll go in and she will only see the field guys, and she will not be able to make any changes because she only has view only, but she'll be able to see her guys and locate them and see all the information they have set up, but not be able to make any changes. So that's really cool with the group side of things. You can really get detailed and have a lot of fun in this section and making sure that you've got everyone that needs to have access to the particular regions or groups set up. So that's how we kind of upgrade. So I just want to recap, team member section, get everyone added in as a contact first and do all the work and the back end things and the setup that you need to do. Then after the fact, you can go in and start creating groups and doing the extra little special features and setups and things like that. Okay, lastly, or just a couple of more things here, then we're done. I want to show you the Blackline analytics, and I also want to show you a live alert that comes into the system. So Blackline Analytics basically shows you the information on your devices, your reports, your events maps, incident report, usage compliance, bump tests, and calibrations. This is a huge excitement in our team, and a lot of customers are very much enjoying this section. So go in this section and have fun, and go in and have a look at what is your events, and just go in there and have a look around. Wherever you see blue, you can click on. Wherever you see information, it will give you some information on scrolling down. Wherever you see an arrow, you can drill up, and you can also lower the level data. If you see 3 dots, you know you can export data. So again, just highlight over things, have a look. It can expand things for you, and just have a look at those pieces of information. And that's when I was saying about the groups, where it can really get useful, because if you just want to look on a particular device, a particular regional group, now you've got that kind of set up in place, you can really kind of pull these reports and identify what's happening per region, per device, per whole organization, right? And you can filter down here on the top right hand corner. So I can actually select my groups down here and select each of them as well. Okay, lastly, I'm going to come to the maps page. And on the maps page, there's nothing really for you to do here. It just shows you who's online, who's offline. If a red alert comes into the system and you're monitored by Blackline Safety, you do not need to touch that alert because we'll be responding to it. If you are self-monitored and you see an alert coming into the system, then that for sure will be your drive there to make sure that you are responding to those alerts. Now on our system here, if I click online, you can click on the devices, click on the icons, you can see some information down the right-hand side. You can go to history, you can see some breadcrumb trails of what's been happening on this device. So go in here, play around. Again, any questions come up, you can call into customer care. We can definitely answer those for you. So I just want to kind of end on having an alarm coming into our system live so you can see what happens. I will use this example as a Blackline monitoring example. So here we go, I'm going to pull my latch. So I pull the latch on my device and then this is going to come into the system. So right now I'm just going to silence it. So I've silenced my device, but I haven't cancelled it. It's just giving me a prompt because of my audio settings. That's just something I've configured for the training here. But here is my alert. So when we see the alert come into our system, we have a surround sound foghorn. It definitely lets us know that there is an alert that's come in. And then we click on the alert. And obviously, if you're self-monitored, you can follow along. You click on the alert on the drop down there. And then it brings you to a page that says, would you like to acknowledge this alert? And you say yes. Once that alert's gone through and I've clicked on it, I'm now receiving a flashing blue light on my device, which allows me, the end user, to know that someone's received my alarm. The next thing that I want to do is see my location, obviously. I also want to read the protocol. I'm going to see what emergency contacts we have in, etc. But really, because this is a G7C and it has voice calling, I immediately want to start calling the G7C device and start communicating with that end user. If I can't get hold of the end user on the phone call, I can simply do a text, are you okay? And I can click send, and then immediately will start alarming on my device. Okay, and I'm just going to respond back so you can see. So I've just responded back to that text, which you will see come in shortly. So it's pretty quick here. And when I look at that message and acknowledge it, I can see that I wrote back false alarm. And then I can then choose to whether I resolve the alarm, write my notes, put some notes in the section, post a note, but then I want to resolve the alarm. If I couldn't get a hold of the end user, this is where those emergency contacts are really, really useful. And this is why it's important to keep those emergency contacts up to date and in order of priority. Because if I click contacts, I've got 3 emergency contacts. If I had 0 in there, I'd be like, well, why isn't there any contacts in this system? So that's the importance of making sure, A, we've got people in the system, B, we've got phone numbers and emails and everything up to date, and C, your alert profiles are up to date so we can actually call the people in order of priority when there's an emergency event. So I'm actually going to click on this SOS alert and resolve it. I'm just going to put system test, resolve. And I can also click on the message and resolve it too. Now, before we end on this session, I just want to touch on a couple of things with locations. So if you are indoors and you are struggling with locations, you might need what is called, and I'm going to pull over our support site here, which is called our location beacon. So beacons are really easily set up in the account. These guys are awesome. They provide just the location. So you basically set these up inside of a building, maybe on the entrance or the exit of a door, human height. You turn it on, it lasts for 5 years, and you label the beacon in your account under the beacon settings page as, you know, entry, beacon 1, level 1, entry, whatever, right? So you enter in your beacon name and information, and they're really awesome. And we do have some information on them if you would like to kind of go through that and learn a little bit more about the beacon indoor technology, because this user guide is absolutely, it's so awesome, because it does break down kind of what the beacon does for you, how it can help you in different buildings. You can add floor plans into your account as well that we can upload, and it talks about how it communicates, etc., and where to place them, where not to place them, and how easy it is to set up and to have this in your account as well. So there's our support site, support.blacklinesafety.com. You can find all of our training videos, tools, and support documents on there. And you can also save our customer care phone number below as well, please, for any technical support and questions that you have. Again, my name is Victoria Suter, and thank you so much for attending this training session.